everything in terms of running the new system?
You just mean throughout all spring?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was really good. You know, some good days, some days were a little sloppier, and that's part of it, especially a new system, a lot of new guys, everyone's playing together kind of for the first time for a lot of us. So overall, I thought it was really good. I thought we learned a lot, took some really big steps of improvement throughout OTAs, and you know, I'm proud of the guys, how they worked. Everyone, you know, worked their tail off all off season, really pushed ourselves. You know, there's a lot of times where this is a period where some people can kind of take it easy, and I felt like every day we really came out here, you know, busted our ass and really were intentional about what we were doing.
Liam said the sleeve was just because of general soreness. Could you just talk about that?
Yeah, just, you know, you got to think about it. I hadn't thrown for OTAs since December, so December. So it was about 4 months of not throwing, and that's like I don't know the last time. I couldn't tell you the last time I didn't throw for 4 months. I guess 4 years ago when I got surgery. So I think just going from that to I started throwing a couple weeks before we started the off-season program, but then we jumped into practice and heavy volume, and I think just over time, you know, obviously you got to adjust, you got to get in shape for that. So just a little bit of soreness, the compression helps, just relieve some of that, but that's all it is. So nothing I'm concerned about.
Where do you feel like you've maybe grown the most within the system over the course of OTAs and everything?
You know, like I've said, changed some of my footwork, so I feel a lot more comfortable with that. Just some subtle changes. I think footwork, my eyes, just where I'm starting, you know, using my eyes as a weapon, manipulating the defense. I thought there was some great stuff on tape throughout the spring of me being able to do that and the ways I wanted to. So that was a big step. Just overall being comfortable with the system, not thinking as much. You know, when you hear a play call, it's not like I'm straining to think about what I'm doing. You know, at first when you get the system, that you're kind of doing that, but towards the end it felt a lot more second nature and felt like I could just go and play and communicate and move fast.
What's it been like working with Spencer Whipple?
He's been awesome. Just has a lot of great insight. He's really smart. We have a great relationship. It's been fun working with him, and love his personality. Very even keel, calm demeanor. That's always something I appreciate in a QB coach. So that's important to me. And he's been great to work with. I think the alignment between him and Liam and Grant and everybody and myself is right on point. You know, we're all on the same page, and even if there's things where we might see it a little differently, the conversation and dialogue in the meeting rooms has been awesome. And I feel like we always get to a place where we're on the same page, which is really important.
How did you see Travis Hunter sort of grow, I guess, throughout the course of OTAs?
He's grown a lot. You know, there's a lot obviously being thrown on him, being a high pick, you know, playing both ways. There's a lot, you know, I can understand being drafted high in the expectations, but as far as I did play both ways, so that's another world. I think he's done a great job. Obviously, this is going to be a big opportunity for him during this break. You know, you want to get your mind right and be ready to go and be rejuvenated for camp, but you also got to really be prepared and be ready. And he's got some time to kind of get in his playbook and learn the system, because rookies have a tough job coming in when we're already halfway through the install. So they come in and half the playbook's in and they're just jumping in on a random, you know, so they don't get to start off like all of us do, kind of with the softballs and work their way in. They jump in right in the middle of it. So I'm excited to spend some time with him this summer. You know, we plan on getting together quite a bit and throwing, getting some timing down, but also just talking through the system. And I got no concerns about him. I'm really excited just to see him continue to get better. And I mean, he's a special player on both sides of the ball.
The common thought is that you can't learn anything about the offensive line until the pads go on. What are your thoughts on that? Did you learn anything over these 13 practices?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that a little bit. I think not totally, though. I think it's still important just for communication, identification with the defense, you know, working games, passing off games. Yes, the physical side of some of the one-on-one blocks. I think the defensive line is always at an advantage when you're in no pads. It's hard. Yeah, there's nothing to grab onto. There's nothing to really anchor in on. So that's difficult. But as far as just the mental part of the game, your steps, your footwork, getting to linebackers, you know, being physical, violent with your hands, all that stuff, I think the guys have been awesome. They've been great. And yes, there's some stuff to clean up, but that's for all of us. So, you know, I'm excited. Obviously, you learn a lot more once the pads go on, 100%. But I think those guys took some big steps. And like I said, the system puts a lot on those guys up front to really communicate and know what they're doing, and there's a lot of adjustments, and it gives us a lot of answers, but you have to know it, and I think those guys have done a great job of being prepared.
What do you like about what De'Ami Brown's been doing this offense?
To De'Ami?
Yeah.
Man, I've been super impressed with him. His speed, obviously, is a threat down the field, which is important as a receiver, can stretch the field, but also he's a really, really smart football player. You know, he's picked up the system really quickly. He's always in the right spot. I think that's something about him. I don't know if you guys watched plenty of practices. He's gotten the ball a lot. It seems like he's always in the right spot. He's always has a feel for the zone, like where to sit, where to throttle, you know, kind of those voids. And I just think he's really smart, and I'm really excited adding him to the offense, to the weapons that we already have. You know, it's exciting.
In terms of the rookie running backs, what has Tootin and Allen shown you, if anything?
Obviously, Bache is fast. He can fly, and that's a weapon. And I think just for those guys, like I said, coming in and you're learning so much, and so much is changing, and just for them to get comfortable so they can go play. Running back is such a field position, and you got to get in the flow of a game, and without pads it can be tough. And so it's hard to say, but I've been impressed with those guys, just how they picked it up. Like I said, Bache's speed, I think the point's been awesome. Pass protection, seems like he really understands it. Great hands, hard worker. I mean, I've been impressed with just his attitude and the way he carries himself.
A lot of new pass catchers, obviously. Just how has that been, getting down the timing and the reps with them?
It's been good. You know, there's things where it's not always perfect, and especially at practice when you first are learning guys' timing and how they run routes and trying to get your anticipation down. Like, I love to throw with anticipation, so I'm not going to come out here and practice waiting on guys to come out of breaks. Like, that's not realistic. You know, in the games you're throwing it early, you're throwing 4 guys breaks. So I think sometimes you leave the field some days, you're like, I wasn't the cleanest because maybe you missed some, or maybe the timing was off, or a guy took an extra step. But that stuff, once that happens, you learn from it. If you just wait on guys to come out of breaks every time, every ball's going to look good. Then in a game when you have to throw with anticipation, you're going to miss a lot of them. So I think this is the time to really nail down that timing and work on it instead of waiting. So, you know, I think overall I'd improved drastically over the offseason. There's still some stuff that we can work on, but we have a few weeks to do it before camp, and then obviously camp. So.
What-
How excited are you for your first Father's Day?
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
How excited are you for your first Father's Day?
Really excited. Yeah, obviously the first Father's Day for me. It's just been the coolest thing, becoming a dad, and just the perspective change that I've had from that, and it's definitely balanced my life out in a lot of ways. You know, something that's hard is I feel like my mind is always going, and you go home and you can't take any of that stuff home. You know, trying to be the best husband and dad you can be. It's really helped me kind of compartmentalize a little bit and be able to go home and just be a dad and enjoy that, so instead of taking stuff home with me. So it's been good. It's just incredible seeing her grow up, and you know, she's starting to crawl and change. It's just crazy. I'm sure as all you guys that are parents out there know, but it's awesome.
Speaking of, any vacation plans going this month?
Yeah, we have a couple, you know, family trips, stuff with really both of our families, trying to get some downtime, and that's really about it. Those are the big things, and yeah, so we got some stuff that try to get a little bit of time with them before it gets crazy, and you know, once training camp starts, you're not seeing the family much. So it'll be good to spend some time with our families.
Very good.
Thanks, Trevor.
Awesome. I appreciate you.